From the top down, there's this mentality of protect the black and gold at all cost. Like, nothing goes wrong here, everything is perfect, nobody talk about anything, let's just sweep it under the rug and everything will be fine and we can just go on to mother so dear, be mother so dear. And sometimes it's like, well, maybe wouldn't it just be easier to just let it go? But you can't let it go, because eventually this is gonna creep up in every realm, and I think it already has.
To get to a point where we don't even know what we should call sexual assault. People think that certain things are okay, and there's certain behaviors that have become socially acceptable that we don't even pick up on. And just because we say it's socially acceptable or people just kind of shrug it off, that doesn't make it okay.
When I hear the word sexual assault, I feel immense sadness because I know that it's a problem which is prevalent in all groups, whether it's race, socioeconomic, class, gender, and sexuality. It crosses all those boundaries.
It's something that we only know by talking about it, and when we don't talk about it, that's when we don't know. And I think it's hard to put a number on it, and it's hard to say, like, we have this huge problem, because in reality, how many people report it?
It's kind of like that constant part of our society that a lot of people don't give recognition to.
A lot of those conversations do not want to come to the forefront because they're too difficult to talk about.
Look at the people that are on the left and right of you every day and realize that they're victims amongst you, the people that haven't said anything at all, but they're there.
It's kind of difficult to really think about or talk about, just because, you don't really want to hear about it or kind of know that it's out there.
I guess what I would say is there's no question that these are hard conversations. This is an incredibly difficult topic, and it's an incredibly difficult topic to talk about from a personal standpoint, but also just from a cultural standpoint, that we've allowed this to happen for this long.
It's uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable, because even for those who think those behaviors are wrong and they feel uncomfortable talking about it, and it's hard for somebody to even think that somebody they're associated with could be capable of something like sexual assault. So it's just really uncomfortable for a lot of people to talk about it.
Before we could graduate, girls had to take a Safe Chicks Don't Get Raped class on the day of parent-teacher conferences, and boys got the day off. And that is how I feel like we have dealt with it at Wake Forest and in the United States. Women take a class, take RAD, all good things. Women should be taking those classes, but then men should be having bystander training, having discussions about why this is happening in the first place. I feel like we're treating the wounds and not the disease.
We have sometimes a student body that doesn't want to think that it's happening, or they know it's happening, but they just think that they're one person and they can't fight a big problem. I also think that there are people that don't think it's happening, so if they don't think it's happening, they're not going to have a conversation about it.
Nothing has really happened to really drive students to move on this issue, and until that happens, you're going to have the same level of complacency that you've seen the past 20 or 30 years. And it will take a certain event, or it'll take a certain movement, or just changing of culture from the administrative level for students to actually start naturally having these conversations.
I think that I would say it's time for us to be brave and bold and address the injustices that are happening here.
And it starts off maybe like grassroots, small, like students like putting their foot down and saying this is enough, and then it moves on to the administration.
I think having student-led conversations so that students are the ones driving these conversations and the ones honing this narrative about who we are and what we want to be takes it out of it allows us to work with what's happening nationally and what's happening out of the White House, and also recognize that this is a problem that happens to our friends and to either people we know or that we don't know, and that we're responsible for that either way.